Man, I'm tired. Really, really tired, guys. The sleep situation has not been great at all. The more and more I work at the job I'm at right now, the more and more I just do not like it. And I just wanted to say, because there's this kind of misconception out there that none of us like our jobs and we just got to put up with it. But I'm here to tell you, if you're in a toxic environment or you really, really just hate the job you're working at, don't stay at that job. It'll drain the life out of you. It's not worth it. The question that we have to ask ourselves is, what constitutes a toxic work environment? What constitutes a really bad job? Because a lot of people are going to ask me that question. A lot of people are going to say, Brian, nobody likes their job. Brian, everybody feels like their work environment is toxic. Brian, if everybody followed your advice, our economy would come to a crashing halt because everybody would walk off their jobs. And that's why we have to define what a toxic work environment is, because a lot of people have a misconception about what that actually is. Oh, that breeze, it feels really, really nice. Oh, it's nice and cool. So like I said earlier, we got to define what constitutes a really toxic situation, a really toxic job, because I don't want to be misunderstood. Contrary to popular belief, I don't hate the job I'm at right now. I don't particularly care for it, but is it considered a toxic environment? Does it rise to the level of being a job I just absolutely detest? And the answer to that question is absolutely not. It's not a bad job per se. There are elements about it that I don't particularly care for, but ultimately it's not some place that I dread going every day. All right, I think I'm gonna run across the street to the gas station and get something to drink, and then we're gonna go out on the beach. We're gonna set up the tent, and I'm going to be working on another video for my other channel. You know, the new channel, Man Minus House. It's going to be, I'm trying out a new system, actually, and I'm hoping that this system will work because it's so portable. It doesn't take up a lot of space in my panniers when I'm riding. So that's what we're gonna be doing out on the beach. I'm gonna be trying to get this system dialed in so I can make continuous videos on that channel. But first, I'm thirsty and I need some caffeine, so let's go get something to drink. Appreciate it.
Thank
you. For a Monday morning, the beach looks awful crowded, guys. But look, it stops like right there. All the way, the rest of the way down, there's nobody. And this is what I'm typically used to. I mean, most of the time when people come, they don't want to walk too far. You know, they'll go down a certain ways and that's about it. Last week, everybody was walking all the way down and they were like spaced evenly apart, and it was really hard to find a place where I felt comfortable just laying down for a little bit. It was it was chaotic. I was like, what's wrong with you people? Why do you got to be so much like myself, you know? I don't know, but I'm gonna get this tied up, get it unloaded, and then I'm gonna head down to my usual spot down there, and we're gonna set up the new system, and I'm gonna see if it works okay. Hopefully it does, because I would like to use that system to be the, you know, be the broadcasting part of my channel, my other channel. You know, that one bag, you know, that I showed you guys in my last video, that one bag, it took up the whole, you know, one whole pannier, and I can't have that. It's just too much space it's taking up, so we gotta kind of cut that down quite a bit. See, in my backpack, I got my laptop, I got my tablet, I've got camera equipment, I've got a little portable tripod. Most of my filming stuff I keep in my backpack, that way I can take it with me at a moment's notice. The bike, however, has a lot of my stuff for the beach. My tent is up there, my battery banks, you know, towels, you know, just stuff for the beach or stuff for camping if I'm camping, depending on what I'm doing. It looks like the water is nice and crystal clear today. It'll be a good day. I think I'm gonna go swimming today, enjoy some of the water. It's going to be getting colder, so the water is going to be less and less appealing as time goes on, but it looks beautiful today. Guys, this little beach tent's been great. It's a beach tent I got off Amazon, but I want to show you how fast this thing is to set up. From unzipping. That's pretty much it. You just got to fill the sandbags now full of dirt, and that's about it. Or sand, I should say. Sandbags full of sand. Whoa. That starts getting deep like really fast. That is beautiful. I guess this is why they call it the Emerald Coast, because of how green it looks. But yeah, I like this water. Normally it has a lot of algae floating in it, and I'm like, nah, yeah, I'm not for that. I don't like that. Looks like a bunch of crap floating in the water. Today it's actually crystal clear. It looks awesome. All right, let's get the tent studio set up and start trying to record some videos. The only real problem with this setup is that sand, it gets everywhere, man. You try to keep it out of your electronics because sand, computers, cameras, they just don't mix. So having this set up here on the beach, now if it was like if I was out on the road on a tour, for example, it would be a lot easier because I wouldn't be getting sand and everything. I got to be very mindful about how much sand I track inside the tent. But back to the topic at hand. I mean, my job, for example, guys, my job, it's okay. All right. The jobs down here in Florida, they don't pay crap. I mean, I made more out of high school than this job pays me right now. It's an industrial maintenance job. If I was up in Indiana, this type of job would pay $30 or $40 an hour, probably $35 an hour starting out. But down here, it doesn't pay crap. It pays 20-something an hour. And one of the reasons for that is there's just, well, let's just say that this area here is all isolated for the most part. There isn't any big metropolitan areas anywhere near here. So the labor force or the job market is going to be pretty limited as it is. And to add insult to injury, just right on the border of Fort Walton Beach, you have an Air Force Base. You have Eglin Air Force Base. So basically when you get all these guys that are coming out of the military, they flood the labor market. And employers love Air Force guys. They love any kind of military guy because the military guy comes out, he's gung-ho, he's not afraid to work, he has a lot of ideas, he's very, very, very disciplined in a lot of respects. I want to work hard, I want to do a good job, I want to make a lot of money. He has that mindset. And employers down here love it. And that's why it's really difficult to compete with those guys, because as a 49-year-old guy who's kind of like, I just don't have that kind of love for my employers anymore, because I've seen how they've treated people over the years, including myself. I've seen employers just like throw people away like garbage. Loyal people, people that have worked really hard for them all their lives, I've seen those people get thrown under the bus. I've seen an employer tell an employee to do something that the employee did not want to do. You cannot do negligent crap, okay? And if a company says, hey, do negligent crap, you as a technician have the right to say, look, that's not safe and I don't want to do that. And that's just any kind of repair. If they're telling you to do something like a repair that you know is unsafe and that is not the right way, you have to stand up and say something about it. But people that are trying to people please, people that are trying to please their employers, they don't do that. They'll go ahead and do what the employer says. And then when that unsafe situation actually comes to fruition, when that happens, the employer throws the employee under the bus. Well, I mean, he should have told me if it was unsafe. I didn't, you know, I'm just the employer. What do I know? He's the guy with the expertise. You know, they'll throw their own employee that they told to do that unsafe thing, they will throw him under the bus. And I've seen it happen several times, and it's the most despicable, disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. Young 20-somethings coming out of the military, they feel like, you know, they want to conquer the world. They have a lot of optimism. And I don't have that anymore, because I've seen what the world actually is really like. I've seen what employees and companies really are like, and they don't care about you. They don't. They'll throw you away in a heartbeat if you do not, if they think you do not benefit them in any way, they will throw you away. I don't care how many years you spent working for them. I don't care how many Christmases you missed working on a machine, slaving away, doing what they wanted you to do, you know, taking off your family because you weren't spending time with them. You were working for your employer because you wanted to make the employer happy, because you thought they actually cared about you. And then the first sign of trouble, yeah, broke your leg or you get cancer or something happens, they throw you away like a dirty Burger King napkin. You know what I mean? They don't care about you. And that's the hardcore truth of the matter. So ultimately, us older guys, us guys that have seen that play out time and time and time and time again, we get really jaded in that respect. We're like, no, I don't care about employers. You know, when it comes to 2 weeks notice, okay, every employer wants you to give them a 2-week notice. And a 2-week notice is essentially a courtesy. It gives them time to get another employee while you're still working. That way they're not down a man. You know what I mean? That's a courtesy. But they do not at all care about firing you during Christmas time, when your kids are expecting Christmas presents, when it's very, very tight and it's very, very much a struggle in life. They have no problem firing you whatsoever. They don't give you a 2-week notice when they're firing you, saying, hey, in 2 weeks, you know, we're going to be letting you go, dude. You're not doing a good job, or we just want to go a different direction. You know, they don't care. Do you think those people actually give a employee a 2-week notice, a chance to find another job? That situation in and of itself should tell you everything you need to know. They want the courtesy from you, but they don't give the courtesy back. So needless to say, I just don't care about employers anymore. I really don't. I'll go there, I'll do my job, and that's it. I will not go above and beyond for them anymore. I won't sacrifice my life for them anymore. It's not gonna happen. So I'm pretty much of the opinion that I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing. I'd really rather not have a job at all. I'd rather travel, make video content of me traveling on my bike. That's what I would really like to do. But unfortunately, I live in reality, and you can't really, I mean, you can make money doing that, and I know I could make money doing that, but I just don't know how long it's gonna take. It could take a couple of years to generate that kind of revenue, and you know, I don't have it. I would almost need to be making revenue right away, and that's the problem. So I decided what I'm going to probably do is I'm not going to be going to Jacksonville. I think I'm going to go down to Tampa because there's much more lively job market down there. It also is a lot warmer in the sense that it doesn't get cold at all down in Tampa. So I've been seriously considering it for the last couple of weeks, and I've decided on Tampa. So as soon as I leave Fort Walton Beach, that's exactly where I'm going, is Tampa Beach, or Tampa, Florida. And I'll move down there, and we'll cycle around, and we'll have some fun and go about my life. I'll probably end up getting a job, obviously, probably end up getting a place to live for a while, and we'll do bike tours. You know, I'll do bike tours in Florida, then we'll go over to Europe for a little while, then we'll do a bike ride across the country. I don't know, we'll do tours and stuff. That's what I want to do ultimately. And then as soon as I build up the revenue that I need, because I'm being more consistent with videos, then I'll be able to go on a lot of these long bike expeditions that I want to go on. Freaking fly, I swear to... Freaking fly is pissing me off. I swear, where's Mr. Miyagi and his chopsticks? There he is, right there. Oh, he's got a friend. No wonder why. Normally flies aren't that bad. I mean, I don't smell that bad. I don't know. Normally flies aren't that damn bad at the beach, but today they seem to be horrible. I was trying to finish editing a video, but unfortunately I don't think I'm gonna be able to because these flies keep bothering the hell out of me. I had to leave the beach area. Man, there was like 30 flies in my tent. I know I smell like sweat from the bike, but there's nothing in that tent to make that many flies come. I don't understand. So I gotta go get some bug spray before I try that again, but that was miserable.
Many hours later.
Oh, it has been a day. I've been running around everywhere since I left the beach. Had to go get some insect repellent. I was in the beach tent earlier today, and I was breaking out all of my recording equipment. I was going to do some tests on my new little setup for my other channel. And unfortunately, the flies were bugging me like crazy. And I'm not talking about one or two flies. They were like a bunch of flies just swirling around me. And it was getting quite irritating. And I was getting very, very ticked off at it. So I left the beach. I went and got something to eat, something to drink, and then I went over to Walmart and bought some like insect repellent. So when I go back there tomorrow, I can just spray that on the inside of my tent, and it'll hopefully keep away the flies and stuff. I know they're attracted to sweat, and when you're a sweaty guy because you're riding a bike everywhere, it tends to attract the flies, and it's just not a very... One, it's not pleasant for me, but it's also not pleasant for a viewer that's watching that and seeing flies buzz around a guy. That just looks it looks unsettling. It looks gross, actually. So freaking itchy right now. It isn't even funny. I was standing in a pile of ants earlier, and I felt something biting me, and then I looked at my feet were like covered in ants. I was apparently standing in an ant pile. Okay, guys. I need to go and drop off some stuff here at the storage unit. It is obviously getting late, and I've got to go find some place to bed down for the night. I realized that earlier I kind of gave the impression that the place I'm working at now is a toxic work environment, and that couldn't be further from the truth. There are a lot of aspects about the job I don't like. All right, I don't like the fact that there's no training program. I don't like the fact that the company doesn't pay holidays at all. I've never worked for a company that didn't pay holidays. This one doesn't. The thing I can't stand about it is working nights. I hate working nights. It throws my whole sleep schedule off. My days off, my 2 days off, if I want to keep the same sleep schedule, I'd have to sleep during the day and I'd have to be up all night. I can't do that here in Fort Walton. Even if I had a place to stay, even if I had a place to live, it wouldn't really matter because obviously I'd be up and there would be nothing to do. And of course, if I want to get anything done, I'd have to be doing it during the day, and that would be interrupting my sleep schedules. It's almost like I have to go to a first shift schedule on my days off, and then on my days that I work or the nights that I work, I have to go back to a third shift schedule. So it really messes up your sleep schedule. It really, really does. I can't stand it. I really can't. But I can't deal with the third shift very much longer. I'm going to try to hold out for at least another couple more weeks so I can get some more money saved up so I can get out of here. That's the whole plan right now. But is my job a toxic work environment? No. It's just one of those places where you don't particularly care for it. But see, that's where most people are with their jobs. You know, a lot of people don't care for their jobs. A lot of people think, well, you know, I can tolerate it. You know, I can go there and make money. It's not my cup of tea, but, you know, it is what it is, and I have to do what I have to do. I have had toxic jobs in the past. I've had really, really, really toxic jobs in the past. Jobs where I just couldn't stand going into work the next day. And those are the types of jobs I'm talking about. You should never, ever dread going into work the next day. If you dread going into work, then obviously you are in the wrong job. It doesn't matter whether it's toxic work environment. It doesn't matter whether it's toxic employees that you have to deal with, or a combination of both. If it's a toxic environment, if you hate the job, absolutely hate it, if you can't stand the people you work with, then you have got to get out of that job. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I've been in situations like that. The job I had before this one was a toxic work environment. People threw each other under the bus all the time. You're constantly always worried about all the finger pointing, people talking behind your back, people trying to tear you down to level themselves up. That's the type of stuff I'm talking about. That job I had last was a toxic work environment. A lot of people don't know this about me because I'm such a bike enthusiast, and I've always been a bike enthusiast, but I spent the first half of my working career working on cars. Okay, I went to school for cars. In another video, I will talk to you guys about what happened in my automotive career because it's a video all in itself. Most of the automotive jobs I worked at weren't toxic except for BMW. My BMW days were, and I went to school for BMW, okay? And my BMW days were, they were toxic. That was pretty much the only automotive job I had that was toxic. And it was just toxic people, okay? The job itself wasn't bad. It was just the toxic people that I worked around. And like I said, most toxic jobs you stay at longer than you should because, you know, you want to make it work and you want to, or you might like the job, but the people are toxic and you stay longer than you should. I've stayed at several toxic jobs longer than I should. I should have just said, this ain't going to work out and walked on out the door, but I didn't. I stuck it out and I stuck it out and I stuck it out. And every time I did, I dreaded going into work the next day. I dreaded, you know, having to deal with the stuff I was dealing with. Now, environments you don't care for, you have to kind of make a judgment call. Obviously, we have to work and we have to make money. I have to work and I have to make money. So sometimes I've got to say, you know, I don't particularly care for it, but I'm going to go in and work anyway because I need the money, right? I'm going to figure out something where I can intermittently work. That way I can travel and ride my bike and tour around. I'm working on that right now. But like I said, if it's just a job you don't care for, obviously that's a different story, okay? And I didn't want to make it sound like I was saying, unless you are absolutely sublimely happy with your job, quit it. You know, that's not what I'm saying, okay? I'm saying horrible, toxic environments. You have to get out of it. I don't care if it's a relationship. I don't care if it's your job. You have to get out of those types of situations because it will drain you and it will affect your health. Right now, the job I'm at now, it's not so much toxic, but I have to get out of it because the third shift is killing me. It is definitely affecting my health. It's affecting my mood and it's affecting my whole life. I can't get anything else done because I'm dealing with this job. Is it toxic per se? No, but it's just not a fit for me. But anyway, guys, I'm going to end the video here. I got to get the bike loaded up and we got to get to, you know, some place where I can get some sleep. If you guys have any comments and questions, leave it down in the comment and questions section. We'll talk about my automotive career in another video. But anyway, thanks for watching and I'll talk with you guys on the next vlog. Bye-bye.